Thank you for reviewing our presentation. We are going to be looking at sustainable retail design and an investigation that Jennifer Wilson and myself, Richard Chips, have done on looking at the impact of organisational and behavioural culture on the adoption of sustainability in the United Kingdom's point of purchase industry. This is a joint collaborative project which we'll explain in more detail in a minute, between Montfort University and Popeye UK.
There are 6 key points that this sustainability presentation will cover. The first is current attitudes to sustainable design in the POP industry. Secondly, how these attitudes are then reflected in corporate behaviour. What the current industry's knowledge is on sustainability. Barriers to sustainability and its embedding within organisations in the POP industry. Our research findings and conclusions and recommendations for other industrial applications. This research project is a joint venture between Montfort University and Popeye UK in Ireland.
Montfort University is one of the UK's leading art and design institutions and is based in the East Midlands in Leicestershire. Montfort University is the home for one of the largest art and design schools within the UK and covers the majority of art and design type programmes, but it also includes the unique and innovative Retail Design Research Lab that is supported by the institution and the local businesses.
Popeye UK in Ireland is the UK home of the global not-for-profit trade association for the point of purchase industry. Popeye is aimed at promoting best practice within the POP industry and is a knowledge bank and research hub for information for the POP industry. Point of purchase advertising can be defined as all communications that are designed to influence a shopper's purchasing decision in store. These can include marketing, advertising and promotion. 3 examples have been provided below. However, other mediums that are included within POP are floor stickers, augmented reality, digital media and retail, and in-store radio advertising and flyers.
This definition has been developed by ourselves in order to bring together the diverse nature of the point of purchase industry and to try and provide a benchmark for us to work on this particular project, and is a combination of a number of different specifications of what the point of purchase advertising is.
There are 3 predominant attitudes to sustainability within the POP industry at the current moment in time. These attitudes are manifested in 3 different approaches that organisations have taken to engage with sustainability. The first is the design case, as some organisations use this as a way to differentiate themselves by providing sustainable alternatives to current industry designs. The second is the sustainability case, where natural resources and the traditional argument of sustainability is the key driver for businesses' approach to sustainability. Thirdly, in contrast to this, is one of the most dominant within wider industry, which is the business case, as many organisations realise that they can improve their competitive advantage and reduce their costs by engaging with sustainable and environmental practices. While continuing with this research project, we have worked with a number of organisations within the UK. The current attitude to sustainability can be summarised in a key quote from Wilmot Budgeon. This is that POP companies are driven by consumers. They're driven by cost savings through better resource management and a realisation that improving sustainability is an essential element for major players' long-term business plans. This can be demonstrated in one of the overlying attitudes to sustainability that we've seen, which is that the POP industry knows that they need to do something, but they don't know what to do and they don't know where to find out the information to help them in their progress. There are three key findings that we can draw from the current attitudes to sustainable design in the POP industry. The first is that there is a fear that unless companies engage with sustainability, they will be left behind and they will have negative competitive advantage. Secondly, that sustainable design in the POP industry is an emerging topic. Organisations have seen the emergence of sustainable stores, sustainable architecture. This is a trend that they see and think will trickle down through in-store fixtures and fittings and POP. And thirdly, that an ad hoc or bolt-on approach to embedding sustainability after the design process has already taken place is unsuccessful. Therefore, a holistic and integrated approach to sustainable design must be applied for all organisations for sustainability to be successful.
It's interesting to note that when one considers the sustainable retail environment, a lot of work has been done on creating sustainable business stores. When one considers the design of sustainable retail environment, a lot of work has been done in creating sustainable building envelopes, and architecture is quite well advanced in terms of creating sustainable buildings. However, there is little evidence to suggest that much work has been done to actually think about how the internal fixtures and fittings, and in our case point of purchase design, can be also created sustainably to ensure a holistic approach to sustainable design within the retail space.
How are these attitudes reflected in corporate behaviour? Well, where sustainability is embedded within organisations within the POP industry, there are two main approaches to its implementation. The first is that it is implemented either by an advocate or top management within said organisation. In contrast, the second approach to embedding sustainability is to use an external agent such as a consultancy at the request of top management. However, there are substantial differences between these two approaches, as the first, based on an advocate approach, means that sustainability is interpreted on what that advocate understands as what sustainability is, which in turn is different to a third party's understanding, such as the consultancy, who will often lean on existing infrastructure such as ISO 14001 or existing information to embed sustainability within the organisation. Therefore, the two separate approaches to sustainable design in the POP sector are inconsistent and idiosyncratic. What does this mean for the wider POP industry? Namely that brands and retailers, the people that procure POP, have an inconsistency in the information that is presented to them, which is a growing problem. Namely, the bewildering array of opinion and measurements and philosophies on what sustainable design and sustainability really means. Often, sustainability information that is provided on its own merits is valid. However, when used in comparison and in contrast to competitive information that is supplied by different suppliers, the view of sustainable design becomes somewhat muddied and unclear. Therefore, a holistic approach needs to be adopted for the sustainability information to stand up to comparative analysis. The real question is, how do we compare apples to oranges, or in our case, different types of sustainability information?
The impact that this has on the brands and retailers is that when they present their CSR policies and when they try and define themselves as being sustainable, they're unable to be absolutely sure that what they're presenting is accurate and clear. And there is therefore a fear, if you like, of being found out, about being not actually as sustainable as they say they are, even though their objective is to be as transparent as possible.
Therefore, we looked at industry's prevailing knowledge to try and understand in more depth how attitudes and approaches to sustainability have been informed to date. The research conducted suggests that there are three main sources for the POP industry for their current knowledge. The first, and unsurprising, is non-governmental organisations such as Friends of the Earth and Greenpeace. Secondly, media. Places such as DEFRA and local authority campaigns have been a main resource for information such as publications, websites and advertising campaigns. And thirdly, using existing environmental management infrastructures to guide them in the road to sustainability. However, how this information is accessed, however, varies from organisation to organisation, as in many cases it may be self-initiated by an advocate or sustainability champion pursuing sustainability knowledge to help inform their behaviour within the organisation. Or secondly, as we've spoken of before, the information may be outsourced and is consultancy driven, which is often using existing environmental infrastructures. Or thirdly, it is government driven, where there has been a threat of environmental legislation, so companies have looked to do as much research as possible to inform their current business model. The consequence of this inconsistent approach is an over-reliance on superficial concepts of sustainability, and not to look and gain a deeper understanding of current issues and concepts and consequences that are related with the new sustainability debate. Therefore, companies and organisations are focusing on old concepts such as the 3R, which is focusing on a singular issue and not addressing the life cycle approach that many now believe is true sustainability.
This can be illustrated through our research by companies and organisations within the point of purchase sector adapting a sustainable approach by simply saying that they're using recycled or recyclable materials, and they believe that that is sufficient. However, there is no effort to embed this into a more life cycle type analysis and to consider the end of use at the end of its retail life.